Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. Let's start off with little bit more updates for Shazam. Now I did talk about that there was possibly press screenings for Shazam, but it may just been only like 20 minutes or so of 30 minutes of footage, and so I'm not quite clear if the press screenings were actual the full movie or was it just a little preview. But according to comicbook.com, who visited Warner Brothers lot in Burbank, California, and a bunch of other people who were also there, they were able to talk to David F. Sandberg and the producer Peter Safran. And two of the things that we really were thinking about when they announced Shazam was, are they going to actually show Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam and Henry Cavill as Superman? Well, this is what they had to say about Black Adam, and you can read the article here. But basically, they're saying that the rumor about Dwayne Johnson playing a role in Shazam is a complete myth. I mean, he might have been available, but they didn't do it at all. It was part of the plan from the beginning that Black Adam and Shazam were going to be head to head, but they decided not to do that. They decided that Black Adam kind of needs his own story, and Shazam needs his own story, and they want to build that separately, and then maybe later on, possibly in sequel, they would have Shazam fight Black Adam. So from early on, before they even started shooting, they've already come to terms that they're not going to have Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam in the movie. That doesn't mean they won't hint or they'll talk about Black Adam. Maybe they'll show his symbol or something, but having Dwayne Johnson in the suit on set, that did not happen, and that's not going to happen in this movie. So sorry, guys, the Black Adam's not going to be in Shazam in the way that we wanted to. It has Dwayne Johnson appearing on set, but they did talk about, or actually they did kind of refrain from answering the question about Superman having a Superman cameo. Safran just said this: yeah, when DC makes that Superman movie, I think it's going to be great. He laughs. You'll definitely get to see it then. You guys will love it. So I don't know what that means. I wonder if that means that he's acknowledging that we want to see that Superman and that we won't see it in this film, or he's just kind of loosely evading it, saying that there's possibly a Superman cameo in it, but I'm not going to tell you anymore. I'm just going to say, hey, if you want to see a Superman movie, they have to make it. So we'll see. And we won't have to wait that long. April 5th is coming right around the corner. It's already in February. And we're also going to I think we're going to hear a lot more about the cameos once actual screenings go out and people actually get to see it early. Then we'll find out a little bit more. And then it'll be a great, nice surprise to actually see Henry Cavill in the Superman suit on screen in the end of the movie or wherever they're going to place him. It will just give us a little calming view that, hey, Henry Cavill's back as Superman. Or even just as a DC fan seeing Superman in the Shazam film. That would be great as well. Now, yesterday I kind of talked a little about the Trench being an actual movie that Warner Brothers is producing. A lot of you are like, what? Where's my quote unquote Superman movie or Supergirl movie, or whatever. I've got Superman on the mind. And I agree. I'm like, the Trench, where did that come from? But like I said, it's going to be like a smaller horror movie. It's a spin-off movie. And where's that Aquaman 2? Is that Aquaman 2? Well, apparently not. The Wrap is reporting that David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick is to write the Aquaman sequel. Frequent James Wan collaborator David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick has been tapped to write the Aquaman sequel. Johnson McGoldrick co-wrote the first Aquaman with Will Beall, based on a story by Jeff Johns, Beall, and James Wan. Wan and Peter Safran are producing this movie. Now, it doesn't really say that he's actually directing this movie, but he is involved. Johnson McGoldrick credits include The Conjuring 2, The Conjuring 3, along with the new Dungeons and Dragons and Orphan. So, this is coming off as very interesting because it's almost like James Wan is making his own little Aquaman cinematic universe, if you will. He's kind of like him and Walter Hamada are kind of playing that whole Conjuring thing. They did The Conjuring 1, they did The Conjuring 2, they did The Nun, they did spin-offs like Annabelle Creation, then they're doing Conjuring 3. It's like their own little universe, kind of tucked away on the side, and he's not really involved with these other projects that Warner Brothers is putting out for the DCEU. And even Hollywood Reporter actually feels like this is what they're doing. They had an old article out today saying the potential of Aquaman cinematic universe. James Wan tweeted out, "Thank you. What I do in my little corner doesn't affect other projects from getting made. Aquaman was always about building a bigger, unique world within itself. There are many adventures within the seven seas." Now, I'm not saying that this is actually happening. So he's playing coy, but when he's responding to this, it's actually happening. So the Trench is actually happening. Aquaman 2 is actually happening. And him building a little universe in the world of the ocean, which is like 70% of our Earth. There's a lot of story to be told within there without having actually going to reach the surface. And I think that's what James Wan is trying to do. I think this is what he's doing with Walter Hamada. And I think Walter Hamada is putting a lot of faith because James Wan created the little Conjuring universe, if you will. He's going to let him make the Aquaman universe. That means James Wan is possibly not going to touch anything else other than the things in the ocean, other than the adventures within the seven seas. This is his 7-sea universe right here. And that is quite amusing because it kind of reminds you of the comic books, right? It kind of reminds you of the little comic books that you have. You got Aquaman comic books. It's all about Aquaman and his world. Yeah, maybe a 1 or 2 or 3 heroes plop in from other universes or other parts of the world, but it's mainly Aquaman. Then you got your Wonder Woman comics. You got your Wonder Woman. It's all laid out. Everything is about Wonder Woman. Maybe a hero shows up here and there, but mainly it's a Wonder Woman series. Then you got your Batman universe, and it's very wide. You got your detective comics. You got your Batman and Robin comics. You got your a Nightwing comics. You got your Birds of Prey comics. It's so wide and vast. There's so many different pockets of little comic book runs that don't really fit in, connect. They might connect a little, but most of the times you can just read one series and not have to worry about reading other series. Then you got your Superman comics. You got your Supergirl comics. You got your action comics. You got your Adventures of Superman comics. So there's so many different runs of that, and they're really, you can just read that one little series and not have to worry about the other ones to actually make sense. Until you get to Infinite Crisis or some kind of crisis, and each part of that story starts building up, and you have to connect together, and you eventually get this graphic novel like this big, and it has all those moments in it to get all that story as a whole as part of that Infinite Crisis, or that Justice League thing, or World of War, or it has those moments. You can do that. Is that what they're trying to do for the DCEU? DC expanded, whatever you want to call it, DC Extended Universe or Worlds of DC, as they all fit in this giant multiverse movie cinematically, but you don't have to really pay attention to every single detail unless you want that one big movie. And even then, one big giant Justice League movie, there's always a leading up to it. So it's not like you have to watch Aquaman 1 to get what happens at the end towards the build up to that whatever that giant movie is. And is that what they're doing here? It kind of seems like it. As we're doing Aquaman, then we're doing Birds of Prey. Then we've got that Joker is possibly its own little thing as well. Shazam could expand to more to Black Adam next if it works. You have that. I think this may be what they're playing at. Just having them do these little things, see what sticks, and pull it out there. And with that, the creator of that said world gets to play in that little mini sandbox, creating their little comic book line of series, if you will, and then later on, someone will come in and say, I want to make them all come together. I want to borrow these heroes, and let's make a Justice League movie, another one. So that could happen. I mean, as a DC fan, I love that idea. As a DC fan, I would totally love to see that because that's what we're used to. That's pretty much the comic books come to life. Comic books turn into cinematically. It's not a TV type show series like Marvel Cinematic Universe where you actually have episode after episode. They're kind of doing that where it's like Thor series and things like that. But this one is like almost more split up, not very much connected at all. And then maybe would be that movie where it lead up to that connection. So that could be a possibility. That's different from a Marvel Cinematic Formula because Marvel Cinematic Formula is more like a TV series, season 1, season 2. These are just their own universes, and then maybe they have that one movie at the end or towards a certain time where they can borrow all these heroes and put them together. So that could be a possibility for what Walter Hamada is planning for this DC extended universe and worlds at DC. And for that alone, being a DC fan, I could get kind of excited to see more of that. But Worlds of DC, DCEU, this film cinematic universe is not the only thing that's building up. According to Deadline Hollywood, Kevin Reilly reveals first content details of new Warner Media streaming service. Warner Media's forthcoming streaming service will bring together its treasure trove of 42,000 hours of content from HBO as well as brands such as DC, Looney Tunes, Turner, the CW, and even CNN. After Kevin Reilly, for the first time, lifted the lid on the content will fuel the platform. Now, Kevin Reilly, I guess, he's the president of TBS and TNT and chief creative officer for Turner Entertainment. So this is what's happening in terms of streaming service. This is their Netflix, if you will. This is their answer to Netflix. This is their answer to Disney Plus. This is their answer to Hulu. This is what they're going to do with this. They're going to have all these different things put together, CNN, CW, the DC streaming service, DC Universe possibly will get absorbed into this Warner Media because that's not really doing so well right now. I mean, but the fact that there's so many different universes, so many different stories they could tell using this Warner Media Group platform, what does this mean? Could this be a place where Zack Snyder could finally release his Snyder Cut onto this Warner Media Group? It's, finish it up, put it out there. It's either this or Netflix has the most likely scenarios for them to just throw a movie on there without having any effect on the worlds of DC or DC extended universe, cinematic universe in outside of this little streaming bubble. This could be what they could intend with that, and they can't say that it doesn't have, it's like will confuse people, because literally there's different multiverses within this platform. You got Titans that doesn't connect to CW, doesn't connect to Gotham, it doesn't connect to Green Arrow Arrow or the new Batwoman, Supergirl. Those connect, but they don't connect with these other things. So, and Watchmen could be on here because of HBO. There's so many different possibilities, and it actually opens doors to people like Zack Snyder, to people, creative content creators that could actually have better ways of showing their product, right? Although I do believe Netflix a little bit more open to what you can do with your projects. You can go really out there with them, but I think Warner Media Group also kind of little bit loose on the chains, more loose than the worlds of the cinematic world around them. I think those have a little bit more chains to them. Although even though Warner Brothers says that it's now more director driven more than ever, but you can't tell. You can never tell until you actually see the final product and things like that. Even Aquaman wasn't totally, it was James Wan, but there were a few things that maybe he didn't really have too much play in it. Maybe. But other than that, I think this is great news for content creators, for different content creators. They're able to make the movie they want, able to put it out on something for the world to see, and it just creates more content for the streaming service, and you get your money, more bang for your buck, if you will, by going through Warner Media's streaming service, Netflix, and all this, rather than actually watching movies that are created by the corporate offices, corporate studios, instead of director driven. So, but we'll see. We'll have to see which one fares better, the cinematic universe or the Warner Media Group streaming service or Netflix streaming services. But for Zack Snyder, I think I'm really happy that he has kind of gotten more distribution rights with Netflix and able to produce movies on that platform, and possibly even Warner Media Group, and maybe a actual Warner Brothers movie down the line. But he tweeted something out. He doesn't tweet at often, not at all, but he tweeted this out, and he says this. It's about his shirt. I'm more than grateful to everyone who participated in the All the Gods t-shirt campaign to raise money for AFSP. Such a strong outpouring of support is touching and amazing. Thanks again to everyone. And you see he's wearing a shirt there, lifting what looks like, wow, that's a lot. Wow. But it made over 69,000, could be at 70,000 by now, who knows, that shirt for raising enough money for American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. So great effort, guys. That's awesome. And thank you, Zack Snyder, for putting that shirt out. It actually raised a lot more money than we could have ever done on our own. And so that was great. And congrats to everyone who was involved in that. Well, that is it for today. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.